let's get to the nub of where the campaign will go to then, Sean. We've already seen the Liberal Party frame this as a Canberra-based voice, not a local one. That seemed to be where the dividing line is. You mentioned there's a committee stage there. Is the committee stage, with 2 weeks of consultation allowed from the community where they'll take submissions, is this just to essentially back in what is already there, or would you be happy with substantial changes?
Well, firstly, let me respond to the Canberra-based voice. Right now, the Canberra-based voice is a bunch of elected politicians who are failing to address the disparity that exists in Aboriginal communities. What we're advocating for is a voice to Canberra to keep account those Canberra-based voices who aren't listening to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across the country. And so that's an important piece to make sure that we understand. The Canberra-based voice already exists. They've existed for 130 years. They've failed, 122 years. They've failed our people in regards to the types of decisions that they're making for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We're arguing and advocating for a voice to Canberra to ensure that there are greater accountabilities put in place around the decisions that they need to be making in regards to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Look, I've been on the Referendum Working Group for the last 6 months. I also lead an organisation called Uphold and Recognise, and I've been leading that. I've been the chair of that organisation for 8 years now, and we work on the right of politics. We work with Conservatives and Liberals to bring them on the journey. And so, I'm probably more disappointed in the coalitions, and I'll throw Nationals in this, in their decision so early in this piece, because they've really failed to engage genuinely. Julian Leeser came out on Monday with a position. Monday. The Referendum Working Group have been meeting since the Prime Minister announced Garma. He's established the Referendum Working Group. He's established the expert panel. He's established the Referendum Engagement Group. Julian comes out on Monday and puts a position forward. The appropriate position Julian should have put forward was 6 months ago when this process started, to allow for the conversations and the debate to happen.
Yeah.
Julian and Peter attended 2 meetings of the working group. They never turned up with a position. They turned up with 15 questions. I believe the questions have been answered in regards to the principles.
Exactly.
If you want to
and I don't think these questions have been designed to help the process. They've been designed to kill it. That is the problem. Julian Leeser is the Shadow Attorney General and Minister for Indigenous Affairs. The Liberal Party announced their position yesterday. We've tried to get him on the program. We're told he's not available for a week. So not even justifying the position, not even out there explaining what their position is, and unable or perhaps unwilling to answer questions about his own model.
And look, the disappointment of the model, and this is my frustration. The Prime Minister mentioned Alice Springs quite a bit. Dutton mentioned Alice Springs quite a bit yesterday in his address. There was a time, in the last 10 years where we had a coalition government at a federal level. We had a country Liberal Party government at a Northern Territory level.
And they did nothing.
And we had a country Liberal Party at a local government level in the Northern Territory. What they did was put punitive measures in place through the Northern Territory intervention. They put punitive measures in place in regards to the cashless debit card, but they did nothing to empower the community to form a regional governance structures to advise on how the alcohol bans could be better improved, to advise on how they might transition off the cashless debit card or transition off the alcohol bans, or even transition off the Northern Territory. And so over that 10-year period, a 9-year period of being in government, they failed to give the local Indigenous community of Alice Springs and non-Indigenous community of Alice Springs a structure that gives them voice to be able to transition off those major reform initiatives.
Yeah,
that's a failure of this government. That's a failure of a government that's been empowered, that was in power for 9 years, that failed to act and empower local people to be able to make the necessary decisions to transition off these punitive structures that were put in place.
Okay, Sean Gordon, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.